This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or mental health advice. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast and are not intended to malign any religion, group, club, organization, business, individual, anyone, or anything.
I'm Sarah Edmondson.
And I'm Anthony Nippy Ames, and this is A Little Bit Culty.
We woke up from a cult, and that journey was captured in The Vow on HBO and in my memoir, Scarred.
Now, in this podcast, we break down the shame and secrets that make these experiences so destructive with honest conversations on how seemingly benign groups can cross into the cultiverse and how to spot and recover from trouble if it happens to you.
Each week, we bring in experts, survivors, and whistleblowers to explore red flags, resilience, and even share a few laughs because sometimes you gotta laugh.
Subscribe to our Patreon for early and ad-free listening, some live Q&A, and exclusive content at patreon.com/alittlebitculty.
Welcome to Season 8 of A Little Bit Culty.
Welcome back to A Little Bit Culty, everybody.
In this episode, we talk with Stefan Kolesar about his 13-year journey inside Amway, a legendary multi-level marketing company with some cult-like dynamics.
Fresh out in 2023, he reveals how profit promises, relentless recruiting, and strict leadership rules shaped his life, strained his family ties, and cost him nearly $100,000.
We will talk about the red flags he missed, the toll on his identity and relationships, and how breaking free led to rediscovering financial health and real friendships.
Whether you're MLM curious or spotting signs of high-control groups, this episode exposes the powerful overlap between cult tactics and the world of direct sales.
Here's our conversation with Stefan Kolesar. Stefan, welcome to A Little Bit Culty.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This feels like a long time coming since we've been doing this podcast for 4 years. We've covered a lot of MLMs, but we've never specifically
This is the OG.
done the deep dive into the OG.
The OG,
MLM.
the Granddaddy, the one that's even connected to Keith Raniere too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have to
Yeah.
get into that. We have to get into all of it. Let's start by introducing yourself and sharing with our audience a little bit about who you are and who you were.
And who the Granddaddy actually is.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah.
Who's your Granddaddy?
Oh, that could be the name of this podcast.
There we go.
Who's your granddaddy?
I'm always marketing
Love it.
over here.
Love it. The Grand Poobah. Yeah, so my name's Stefan Kolesar. Me and my wife spent 13 years inside a commercial cult. Had no idea it was a commercial cult until we left, until like 6 months after we left. We thought we were building a business. We thought we were creating wealth for ourselves and following the path of other groundbreaking entrepreneurs that did something in a different way. And we were excited to follow in their footsteps and found out afterwards that we had been manipulated and really like lost a lot of ourselves in that process. So yeah, we were high school sweethearts. My wife and I, we were finishing up university. I was studying psychology and my wife was finishing up her nursing preceptorship, and she met a nurse on a unit that she was working on, and the nurse was retiring in the fall. And so she was super curious and she was like, "What? I'm going to spend the next 40 years doing this and you're like 25 years old and you're getting out of this? That's amazing." So chased her down, and then we sat in a coffee shop and they talked about creating wealth and just this incredible life and being really intentional in relationships with people, just like living a life that was about serving other people and helping other people and how you could create wealth off the back of that type of interaction.
That was the hook, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm a really optimistic, like, I guess, idealistic person. We were probably pretty naive at 21 years old, but people of all ages get sucked into these types of businesses and these types of opportunities. And now we can't unsee it. We see it everywhere in a lot of different industries, right?
Yes, but it is true that early 20s, late teens is a prime time. It's a prime time for idealism and also lack of world experience.
And a talk at a coffee shop.
A talk at a coffee shop with somebody that you trust.
I don't know if you know, Stefan, when we first got out, there was a video that went around that Mark Vicente sent to us, and it was animated. So it was a cartoon. And it said, your friend will invite you to a coffee shop. And it had a guy sitting at a coffee shop. And I went, fucking A. That's exactly how it fucking went down with me. So when you say the coffee shop and the idealistic thing, I empathize because that's where that's the crime scene in a lot of ways. And it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. Well, you don't need an office to operate in a coffee shop and run whatever you want to from there.
Which is part of the pitch, right? There's no overhead, really. You don't have to do the 9 to 5, or in this case with the nursing, I don't know what those hours are, but I know that whatever your friend, this nurse, offered, it was better than what was currently happening.
Yeah. Well, they get you on the hook at the beginning because you're so excited about the possibility, right? There's so much possibility in it. And oftentimes I think people have never really had somebody believe in them. If you weren't raised with a family that really did a good job of like encouraging that and sewing into you and like believing in you, this might be the first time somebody interacts with you and sees like potential in you and wants to serve you and wants to pull that potential out of you and talks about building this incredible like friendship and relationship with them where they're going to be able to pull this greatness from you. And I think that's almost like a drug. Like you get a taste of that and you want to go back for more.
So what happened after that? The nurse invited you, you're in the coffee shop, you have this idea of all these opportunities. Tell us about what happened after that and how what was good about it at first?
I mean, they talked about this community, about like people who are really positive and how the world is just so negative that they're actually not that positive. It's just the world is so negative. So we were really excited about being around people that had this like positive outlook and were excited about the future. And they kept talking about like, I'm not scared to get older. I'm excited to get older because as I get older, my life just gets better. And that's one thing, like we really adopted that in everything that we did. So all of the decisions that we made ran through this filter of like, well, it doesn't really matter because our life is just going to get so much better. Like we're going to have more money. We're going to have more time. We're going to have more ability to do whatever we want. They start out and they never let you know the name of the business that they're talking about, because if they knew that and you went and Googled it right away, you'd probably find some information out that would steer you away.
Wow.
What do they call it?
They just talk about like an opportunity, and they might even call it like the name that they themselves have incorporated as or call themselves. Like I might have called it like Kolesar Enterprises, right? Because it's my own business. I'm leveraging another company,
I see.
Is what I would say. But you're not really leveraging another company. You don't own anything.
You're not an independent contractor.
So in hindsight, do you see that as overt lying right now?
Now I do. Like not overt, but definitely covert lying, like lying by omission. Yeah, you don't mention the details that would have steered us another direction until you have enough hooks into us that you then reveal the name of the company. So there's a grooming process that's taught to you as you enter into this. And we realized that we went through that at the start. When we were doing it, we were fine that we were going through this process. We would have never called it a grooming process. We just called it the process. And so it's a series of meet and greets, coffee shop, meet for an hour, chat about different things, go over different topics. You'll talk about how there's different quadrants of creating income, and there's small businesses, there's employees, there's big businesses, and then there's investments. And then you fit within one of those categories. And this was a big business opportunity with like really low overhead, so easy access to get into. And then it's only at like the end of that second meeting that you meet with them that they would reveal to you that the name of the company is Amway. So the grand poobah of all MLMs, the OG.
At this point, had you heard of MLMs before? Had you heard of Amway?
I hadn't at all, to be honest with you. I knew very little about Amway. Through the process, I mentioned to my dad the name of the company, and he was like, "Oh, son, like I was in a pyramid scheme in the 70s." And I just wrote it off like, "Oh,
he
silly
doesn't get
dad."
it.
Like, yeah, like, of course you were in a pyramid scheme. That's something that would happen to you. That's not something that would happen to me. I thought I was so smart.
Yeah, you're 21.
Yeah, exactly. I know everything there is to know.
Everything at 21,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
exactly. So I didn't listen to him at all when he said that. That was honestly the last that he really said about like pyramid schemes and being concerned about it, because we were just we were so gung-ho, and he kind of knew we were going to do what we were going to do, and he let us just kind of do it. So even some people listening to this, they're going to hear some similarities, but they're really going to want to say, like, but my MLM is different. My system is different. My training system is different. Oh, he used Amway, but yeah, he used Worldwide Group. So within Amway, there's different lines of affiliation. So there's Worldwide Group is one of the like accredited training programs for Worldwide Group. And essentially it's just like, I think there's 13 big ones, and they're just 13 people that started a really long time ago, like 40 years ago. And it's just that like line of downline that is that whole organization. And they figured out a way to profit off of the tools side of things.
Right.
So that part's a scam within the scam, in my opinion.
Is the Worldwide Group the same as the tools?
Yes.
Explain that better.
So when you sign up for Amway, you're signed up with a sponsor. So any MLM, you're signed up and you have a sponsor. So that's the go-to person above you in that hierarchy or that pyramid structure.
Your upline.
Yeah, your upline. So they're responsible for coaching and training you and teaching you everything that you need to know to have a successful business.
And their incentives to do that are?
Well, the incentives are as you grow your business, their business grows, because they're paid off of all of the volume that your business runs through you personally and any of your downline. So as you are more successful, they are more successful. And so going into it, what we understood was the more we are successful, the more they're successful. And if we're not successful, then it's just a waste of their time. So why would they give us bad advice? But there was a very important detail that was left out of that, was that they got paid on the tools system, which means they were incentivized to keep us around, not necessarily to keep us successful, to have us be successful. So we found that out like 6 months after, and that totally blew our mind, because we couldn't believe that somebody would have for 13 years kept something so like integral to why you do what you do secret like that. So the training systems then, they're responsible for training you. So that's going to be like audio membership that you pay for. So we had something that we like listened to kind of podcasts every single day. So we had an hour podcast we'd listen to every single day. We had a voicemail system that connected us to other people within that line of sponsorship, that Worldwide Group, where they would send out messages of really great trainings and great mindset. And, oh, this person had a great open door conversation with this person, and I'm sending out the message so you can hear it and take something from it to adopt yourself, kind of thing. You're paying for these monthly resources, books as well, different just different business resources and functions. Functions are a huge source of income for them as well.
What are functions?
So functions would be like every quarter you go somewhere and have a big get together event with all of the people.
On your dime.
On your dime, yes. So the training that you pay for, that you're not making any money, but you're continuing to profit for them.
Even cult podcasts need sponsors, everyone. Check out these must-haves. Sponsor break's done. Now back for more culty stories.
I don't know if you know this, but I was in an MLM before NXIVM, and I went to two of they called them conventions in Utah, in Salt Lake. So I've been to two of those, and I know what it's all about, and I can remember them vividly. And sorry that you went through that for so long. I just have a quick question. These tools and all these things you're talking about now, this is the same thing, just a more modern version of what it started as in the 70s when it was all cassette tapes, correct?
Yeah.
The people that created this, from the little research that we did, were making like $30 million a year or something like that at the beginning.
Yeah, you make a ton of money off of that. And it starts really small. There's different levels. And one of the first kind of like recognition levels is platinum. So as you're going platinum, you're probably like every single night of the week, maybe 6 nights a week, you're showing the plan is what it's called. So you're presenting the business opportunity to usually like a living room of people, for different people that you're working with. And you're presenting that plan so that the guests in the room can see it. They can hear it from somebody who knows how to communicate it well. and then they can get sponsored into business and the organization continues to grow. And it's sold as like a business where you're selling products. It's just like, sell products or buy products yourself. Like you can get paid from just buying your own products. And so, well, you can't really get paid for that, but people in their mind have the idea that, well, I'm going to buy these products anyways. Why wouldn't I buy them from something that gives me point value for my business so that I can make greater income from it? So you're convinced that every purchase that you make from this company is actually an investment. It's in this business that you're growing, right? So we purchased, I would say, like $1,200 to $1,800 a month in products from Amway. And that was like, they have everything. So that was like our toothpaste, our soap, our laundry detergent, our, face wash, Jenna's makeup, vitamins, supplements, protein bars, everything that you can think of.
So would Amway have a direct relationship to buy in bulk?
They own the whole line. So they manufacture the products, they distribute the products to us, the distributors. And then the idea is that we're making retail sales to other people. And some people do make retail sales, but the path of least resistance is to just purchase the product yourself because you need the product anyways. And if I'm purchasing a bunch and I'm teaching my downline to purchase a bunch of products, Amway doesn't care how they don't even have a way to accurately track retail sales. Did you guys check out the book Little Bosses Everywhere by chance?
That's actually our next interview in 3 weeks from now with Bridget.
Amazing. Yeah. So she knows very well, like Amway and Worldwide Group. She has a whole chapter detailing the exact process that like the diamonds in our specific upline created to take people through. And she talks about it in the book. I was so excited to be reading about it because it was so accurate.
So like they make their own toothpaste? They have factories?
Yeah, a company called Alticor that is like a holding company that has all of the manufacturing and all of that stuff built into it. So they manufacture the product. They make money off of the transfer to the distribution company, which is Amway. I assume, I don't know that. I guess that's hearsay. And then that product is then available at a wholesale cost to the distributors. And then whatever we retail it to people for, we have websites that have like a suggested retail on it. And then you can buy those products through that channel.
Wow. It just seems like so much work to do the scam.
To create all those products.
But also like, why not just have a legitimate business out of it?
Right. And that's the thing. Like, have you ever heard of the brand Glister?
No.
For toothpaste? No. Have you ever heard of the brand Artistry for makeup? You might have heard that one. Artistry?
No. Maybe it sounds familiar, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Neutralite?
Yes.
Yeah.
Neutralite's vitamins. That's because like that's the beginning Amway started as Neutralite. But those brands, like a lot of their brands, nobody's ever heard of them because nobody purchases those products because in my opinion, the only people that are purchasing those products are the people that are convinced, oh, this is an investment in my future. This is better than putting money in my 401k, buying this overpriced toothpaste.
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask you because in the
It's overpriced.
MLM that I was in, they would say that we were getting the products at wholesale. That's the whole point, right? You're cutting out the middlemen. But then the toothpaste was already like $10.
Yeah.
Because it's such good toothpaste.
Well, it just dawned on me that you're not actually competing in a free market. You're securing your own market. That's why they would do that.
100%. Yeah.
Because that means they don't have to worry about putting out a quality product and advertising, marketing, and all that stuff.
One of the main tenets was like no negative product. So like if your upline came to your house and was putting on a presentation for you, like they're coming to your house to serve you is your understanding of it. They're there to really like serve you and help you grow your team. If they were to go into your bathroom and see that you had Colgate toothpaste instead of Glister toothpaste, that's a slap in their face. They're
How rude.
Taking time away from their family and they're coming and serving you in your house and you're buying the toothpaste that's a third the price of the wholesale price of their toothpaste.
So they've secured the loyalty.
Yeah, exactly. So you have all this loyalty and it's driven off of something totally separate than market demand because there is no market demand for that. A funny story about that. We had our air purifier in our bedroom here for forever from Amway, and we wouldn't buy the replacement filters after we left. It's $300 for a replacement filter for this air purifier. So We're like, no, we can buy a whole new air filter or a whole new air purifier for $300, right? The cost of the air purifier is $2,000 now. And that was a treat for us. Like on a good month, we treated ourselves and we bought ourselves an air purifier from our business because we were such good little IBOs.
What is IBO?
Independent business owner.
Right.
Yeah. And so I sold that air purifier, posted it on Facebook Marketplace for $200, 0 hits on it, posted it for $100. And then one of the people that used to be in the organization that we were in bought it from me. And so came to my house, picked it up. I gave it to them. To me, it just showed that there's 0 market demand for the actual product. Like you're getting it for 5%, like way a discounted price.
As a company, you have to pay for marketing.
You don't, though, if everybody else thinks that is their company and they're talking to all of their friends and family every single day about like, oh, you're concerned about the air quality, or, oh, there's smoke this time of year, you should probably think about investing in an air purifier. I've got a great product for you. So she bought it and I had the conversation with her about it. So the fact that she bought it for the $100 indicated to me that there's no market demand for their product in any way. But I did have a conversation with her and I was like, listen, like these are the things that we came to discover after leaving this organization. Like, I hope you guys are aware of it. I know you've been involved for close to a decade at least. And I hope that you guys are like making provisions outside of it just to, make sure that your life is okay if you guys do decide to leave. And it was just so interesting, the conversation that I had and some of the things that I got back from her that were things that I used to say to people, ask me these questions. And, it's, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. Like I used to peddle the same garbage that you're talking about. But one of the things that she said was like, I said, when we left, we found we really had very few relationships in our life. We had been really good little IBOs and we had invested all of our energy into having that relationship with our upline and making them kind of everything to us. And we had let other relationships in our life just kind of fall to the wayside, especially if somebody was negative about what we were doing. We had to protect our mentality, right? Couldn't let somebody steal our dream.
Right.
And I was like, we didn't do that. And, we found that we didn't really have a lot of close relationships after we left. And she goes, well, did so-and-so tell you to do that? Like, did they say the words? For a second, I was like, oh my gosh, I would have said this exact thing because it's such an easy way to be like a thought stopping cliche. Like just shut down any evaluation because a person that maybe isn't educated on all the tactics would be like, oh, well, they never did say those specific words. So I guess
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
That happened, right? But I was like, no, they didn't say that, but they helped us structure a life that didn't allow for that. They told us to invest every moment that we had into finding new people that were going to be part of our organization, investing in those people.
If you were like with a clear mind and all the education you have now, is there anything else you'd say to her that might kind of cut through that gaslighting?
Like there's nothing magical that you can really say to people. There's no like direct thing. If people are willing to hear it, like if they had enough of those doubts, John Jalalik talks about like how you put the red flags up on a shelf and you continue to put them up there. And eventually that shelf gets so heavy that it breaks. And then you can't ignore the red flags anymore. If somebody doesn't have if they haven't recognized enough of those red flags and they're not like ready to receive that and hear that, where their mindset can kind of shift a little bit, it's really tough. I think you have to be open and you have to be like loving towards people and you have to let them know that like, if they want to talk about it, this is a safe place they can go to have those conversations. I think there's a lot of abuse that happens in culture because people like shy away from having hard conversations where they think that like, I don't want to have this uncomfortable conversation where I'm kind of challenging this person and I don't want them to think that I'm against them or something like that. And so you don't have these hard conversations and then you end up in these situations like nobody had the hard conversation with us for 13 years and we lost our entire 20s. Maybe if people had been a little bit more willing to, be upfront and, not be like, oh, well, Stefan and Jenna are into something weird and they're in it pretty deep, instead of having those conversations with us, maybe it would have saved us a few years or something.
This episode would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. Let's hear what they have to offer. Did you skip over all the ads? We hope you didn't. Thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for listening. Now, let's resume our culty convo.
Stefan, you bring up an interesting point, and this is something that recently I've gotten my head around. I think if people started recognizing that you are a victim of a crime and not just, in a cult or captured by Amway, like it's actual a criminal thing. And if people walked around knowing that these things were criminal organizations, like Sarah and I were victims of a crime until we saw the crime, right? I think people might respond at least a little differently and a little bit like less judgmental and go, oh, these people are a victim of a crime. I want to help them. And if that's the new narrative or the new language to it, it's like, oh no, these aren't just cons, they're criminal organizations and people are committing crimes, some people unwittingly, and I want to help them.
Many people unwittingly. Yeah. Yeah. And the current legal status of things works against us in that, because people can look at that and say, well, Amway is actually the standard for these types of businesses, these multi-level businesses, right? So it is legal to do what they're doing. Coercive control actually isn't illegal.
Not yet.
Right.
Well, it isn't some places, but
it's hard to prove emotional crimes.
Yes.
Right. And one of the reasons our case was, successful is because we had a physical manifestation, a physical crime that spawned people to go, well, how did it get here? And then they recognize people didn't sign up for this. This is coercion and this is a crime.
And there's also numerous podcasts and docuseries and books about specifically Amway, and it's the OG for a reason. And we don't have to go into that in this podcast, and we're not investigative journalists in terms of all the things that Amway has gone through and fighting the FTC and setting precedent and how it has made it possible for other MLMs to thrive. So that's why we're excited to, pull apart this goat of a structure.
To goat.
The goat. And I don't say that in a positive way. But before we figure out how you got out, because I know you spent 12, 13 years there, did you ever have a heyday? Did you ever reach some success, or was there a time where things were good before things fell?
Yeah, the montage.
Yeah, it's the montage of you living your best life, going on vacation.
Yeah, around the mid-mark of our time in the business, we did see some success. We never did actually hit that platinum level. So we were bringing in maybe on a good month, $1,500 a month. So probably just enough to cover our products. So, in our mind, we were we would be going to the grocery store for those products. So this $1,500 is actually profit because we would be spending that money at Walmart. Well, afterwards, I figured out that I'd have been spending a third of the amount of the wholesale cost at Walmart. I did a ChatGPT analysis of the catalog compared to comparable products in the marketplace, and it was 3.02 times higher to buy it from there at wholesale. But we figured we lost around, even accounting for some of the products being just that would have been money spent anyways, we lost about $100,000 for those 13 years in that process. And
were you working on doing it? How were you living?
Yeah, we worked full time. Yeah. Jenna worked as a nurse for the first many years until we had children. And I worked a really high paying sales job. And honestly, privilege is a huge part of the success in that business too, because you need to have a lot of income coming in order to even be able to support yourself to get to any of those levels. So the fact that the majority of your organization is made up of usually lower income people, young people who are going through a big transition in life, maybe a divorce, something like that. Those are people that typically enter into the organization and they don't have the resources that a lot of the people that succeed have. So there's privilege that plays into that for sure. Our mentors told us that was top 5% of the business. And I would believe it. If you look at the statistics of who succeeds, that platinum level, I think it's maybe 2% of people ever get to that platinum level. Very few people ever even reach that first level. And then there's exponential above that. And the hard thing for us was that we sat in our first function, we sat way up in the nosebleeds with our upline sponsors. And then we saw them go from the nosebleeds to being the featured speakers on the stage. So they actually did create a significant income through that. And a lot of that involved manipulating and coercing people and leaving out certain details and all of those things. But we saw them do it. So for us to sit there and be like, well, they're not better than us. We were like, they're not better than us. Why would we quit? Why would we go and do something else when we have a perfect example sitting right in front of us of somebody who accomplished this great feat that we want to accomplish, right?
What did someone have to do to earn platinum?
Yeah, so it's a certain amount of volume that you're running through your organization. So over the course of a year, it could be maybe like $200,000 or so of volume. So that's like products that you purchase, products that your downline purchase, and then products that anybody is retailing to anybody else from you down.
And once you get to platinum, what are the perks?
The income that they would tell you you're getting at platinum based off of like what they present in their business presentations would be around $50,000 a year is what you would expect to be getting after your business costs and products and all of that stuff. But just going off the Amway statistics, it's not great. In actuality, it's probably like $14,000, maybe $25,000 a year that you'd be making in that. And that's working like 6 nights a week on top of your job because it's not enough for you to live off of, and investing all of your free time doing meetings for people, presentations, all of that stuff. And it's really insidious how they do the tools system.
Yeah, talk about that.
So the tools system kicks in at platinum. So as soon as you qualify as they call it a Q12 platinum. So that's 12 out of 12 months qualifying as a platinum with that certain amount of volume. Then you get access to the tools profit, and nobody tells you about this until you get there because you get sent a new contract that you're going to sign about this. And it starts out super low. It's like $7 a month per person that's on that membership, and then like a few dollars, maybe $4 from the voicemail system membership. So you're getting like $10. And it's so easy for you to be like, I'm working my butt off every single day doing this. And your upline tells you're serving your team so much. You're putting that money into your gas tank just to serve them. You're putting it into babysitters. I would imagine you're thinking like, well, I am really serving my team and I am putting that money into serving them. So I'm going to not say anything so that I don't risk like blowing up this organization, because I've been telling them all along, if you succeed, I succeed. The only way I make money is if you make money. I'm coming here out of the goodness of my heart to serve you because somebody served me.
Sorry.
Right? So, yeah. But you leave that part out. So I would imagine it's a really hard, it's a hard thing to grapple with, to share that with your team or not. And then you make more as you progress through those levels. So once you're hitting that diamond level, the diamonds in our organization, allegedly they are making more than 50% of their income from the tools business rather than the income that they present.
If this is such a big moneymaker, I'm surprised that they don't share that as an incentive. Like once you get to this level, you can also earn off, like they keep it secret. Like I don't understand.
I can see why they would keep that secret.
I understand why they do, but I'm also trying to figure out like what motivates people to get to platinum. You know what I mean? Like, oh, surprise, you're at platinum. You also get this extra income. Like that's what it is?
Well, yes, you get this extra income, and that probably incentivizes you to keep working 6 nights a week when you're like so tired and working your job, and continue pushing for that next level of achievement. I think the flip side of it is that if you were to communicate that to the newest person, then the newest person is now evaluating, okay, are you saying this to me because it's actually true and you do believe that I can be successful in this thing? Or are you saying this to me because if I stick around, I'm going to pay my $200 membership next month and you're going to continue making the profit off of it?
Right.
Yeah, your paycheck is dependent on my buy-in.
Yeah, a lot of duplicitousness happening here.
Well, the organization we were a part of, the worldwide group, it's 40 years old. Like they've been doing this for a long time, and all of the lines of sponsorship, they're all exactly the same. You hear the stories. There's a book called Merchants of Deception that somebody who went Emerald wrote this book. And he was telling the stories from I think the 80s or 90s when he got into the business, and all of it was exactly our story. And I was like, oh my gosh, since the 90s, people have been thinking that their experience is so unique and different, but it's just this really well-oiled machine that knows exactly what to do to get people hooked and get people staying there, right? The thing about MLMs, and I think cults in general, they give you three things that human beings really truly desire, which is purpose. They direct you in your life towards something. They give you community. Like, it was such a positive community of like great-hearted people that were there. I still think those people are great-hearted.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other thing is certainty. Like, you know exactly what to do every day. You know what your future looks like. You think you know what your future looks like. It's like decision making is very easy when you know exactly where to go. And we as people we love that and we gravitate towards that, right? That's not life, though. The life doesn't have a lot of certainty in it. So we found we left and we were like, I couldn't even decide what to buy at the grocery store. Like, you had so many options all of a sudden. Yeah.
Basic decisions are hard. And we want to know how you left and how you woke up. Let's take a little break and we'll come back for part 2 this Thursday. And we'll hear all the red flags that you discovered along the way, how the shelf eventually broke, how you got out, and how you healed from Amway.
Sinking down to the depths of the ocean, hanging on to the wave of my love. If I let go of it all, I could leave, but I know I won't.
We hope you're enjoying A Little Bit Culty. If so, please do show us some love. Drop a rating or leave a review. Hit subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/alittlebitculty.
Even better, send this episode to someone who needs it. Maybe they're in a cult. Maybe they're just a little bit susceptible. Or maybe they just love a good story. Spread the word, spread the love. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
A Little Bit Culty is a Trace 120 production.
Executive produced by Sarah Edmondson and Anthony Nippy Ames in collaboration with producer Will Rutherford at Citizens of Sound. Our co-creator is Jess Tardy.
Our production coordinator is Leslie Dinsmore.
Writing by Sandra Namoto and social media marketing by Eric Swarzinski and Brooke Keene.
Our theme song, Cultivated, is by the artists John Bryant and Nigel Aslan.